across this old trailer, and it was kind of creepy because there was a bunch of just debris around it and everything. And we thought, well, how can we make this trailer look cool? The Sidewinder was about 2 feet from him, and it was like 58 degrees out. So we were shocked. We were shocked to even just see it, let alone it be 2 feet, from him.
Yeah.
So,
Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Photographer Profile. My name is Nathan Rupert, and I started this channel to give photographers a worldwide platform to share their work and stories. My guest today is Barry. Hey, Barry, how are you doing?
good. How are you?
Good. Yeah, just please give people an introduction about yourself and your photography.
Just do photography for a hobby. It started off years ago taking photos. I used to keep rare and endangered species reptiles, and so I'd take photos of them, and then it kind of just expanded into landscape photography and just kind of a hobby, but a passionate one at that. So I'm just having fun with it.
They have a reptile super show here downtown. They used to have that every year.
Yeah.
Have you ever been to that before?
Yeah. I used to vend at them too, be a vendor. So
Oh, you were a vendor there.
yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, years ago.
That makes for some good macro photography to get those geckos and those lizards and stuff like that.
I used to keep mostly turtles and tortoises, and so I take different photos of them in different angles and, outside in the light. I was always looking for the best photo I could take of the animals. As I got a little bit older and kept less animals, the landscape photography kind of grew into that, and it kind of just took off. So I'm just having a blast with it.
You are located in San Diego.
I am.
Is that correct?
Yeah.
Okay. Do you have any hobbies outside of photography that you enjoy?
Not really, because I like to travel for the photography too. I was in the Eastern Sierras a couple of weeks ago shooting up there for about 4 or 5 days. That's my therapy, my vacation, my alone time, my quiet time, my reflection time. And photography is just the added bonus. It's not just going out there to take a photo. It's the whole process of, the road trip, eating at restaurants out of town that you wouldn't normally eat at, and going out in the field and taking photos and going on hikes and things of that nature. It's a whole process for me.
It's nice when you go on vacation, you don't have a specific shot in mind. You can just relax, and whatever shot comes to you, whatever you see, you just take a picture.
I think some of my best photos were ones that were just totally unplanned. The planned ones don't always pan out. You get lucky with sometimes an unplanned shot, and it's like, wow, I got lucky on that one. So it's kind of cool.
All right, well, let's look at your picture showcase here. Let me share my screen. 1 second. Okay, can you see that? Please just give us some background on this photo and why you chose to feature it for those people watching.
In San Diego, we don't have too many waterfalls. So I went over this is over in La Jolla, and it was just before a storm last year. So all the dark clouds, I darken the sky in this a little bit just to make your eye go to the foreground. I was noticing the water dripping, flowing off the top of the rocks. And since I kind of like doing the long exposure photography and light trails and things of that nature, I set up and just kept shooting. And then I went back home and edited the photo, and I have fun with bringing out, highlighting some of the features and my shots. Like you can see some of the green algae in the rock, and obviously you can see the flowing water. But yeah, it was just a fun shot, I thought.
Well, did you use a filter, tripod? What was the setup?
It was a tripod.
For this one?
I used a tripod, and I can't recall if I used a filter on that. I think I used a reverse nanograd filter on that. I'm almost positive I did on that one.
And that looks dangerously close to the rocks there. Did you have water boots on or anything like that?
I was just standing just where you can see there, just kind of to the left the rock, and I was kind of up higher, and so I was clear of anything, but yeah, it was cool.
It's very gloomy. It almost looks like right after sunset.
Yeah, right around sunset, maybe just after sunset. Yeah, I have a tendency to kind of darken some of my photos. I have kind of another photographer on Facebook tell me, he says, you definitely have your own style. So I kind of put a little bit of my own twist in it. I have a visual arts background. So, for me, I know there's, that's the nice thing about photography is there's so many different styles and ways you can do things. And, and some people are more of a purist and they want to make the photo look real original. And then some people kind of tweak theirs and edit it. And I'm one of those ones that kind of have fun editing my photos and tweaking them a little bit and making them my own. So that's kind of what I did here with this one.
It's funny, you're in San Diego with bright and colorful sunsets. You prefer the dark stuff.
I do. I prefer the dark stuff.
Okay, let me stop sharing here. All right, before we go to your next photo, do you consider yourself a professional, non-professional? What do you consider yourself?
And I got published in a calendar for the Bodhi Foundation up in the Sierras, which they're a nonprofit that's a state park, but they're also a nonprofit organization that takes donations to upkeep, the ghost town up there, up in the Eastern Sierras, the higher elevations. So sometimes they need donations to keep the structures up, and because it's a pretty big tourist destination. So I'm published. I got published last year, 2023, and I made the inside cover of the calendar. Got a little award.
Congrats!
Yeah, it was kind of cool. It was fun, and I think one of my photos that I gave you, the wagon, that's the one that was featured in the calendar. So
what was the calendar called?
It's just the Bodhi Foundation. It's their own calendar. It's their own. They come out every year, and photographers come out from all over the world, and they go up there and take photos. You can submit your photos each year, and if it gets selected, you can make the calendar. I was just hoping that year to get a month, pick one of the months, and next thing I know, I'm getting a monetary award and made the inside cover of the calendar. So it was kind of cool. I was stoked.
Those are the best kind of awards, monetary awards.
Yeah, it was small. I didn't even, for me, it wasn't even about the money. It was just like, it's cool that you can make it. So.
All right. Let's take a look at your next photo here. Let me get it ready 1 second. There we go. Okay. Can you see that?
Yep.
Yeah, go ahead and tell us the story behind this shot.
So this was last year towards the end of the Milky Way season, and sometimes I get a wild hair and go by myself and just go out to the Imperial Valley and just take pictures if I can find something. And so this is called Dos Cabezas, and it's a water tower out there. And you can't get there by just a 2-wheel drive car. You have to have like a 4-wheel drive or an all-wheel drive or something with some clearance, because it's a little rough to get out there. But I took my truck, went out there, and I had some LED lights in my camera bag, and I thought it'd be kind of cool to light up the frame that holds the water tower up with the LED lights, just to add a little effect to it. And it came out nice, and I was happy with it. And the Milky Way, just as I showed up at 8:30, you could see it with the naked eye, and I was like, wow, it was perfect. I only needed to be there really to take the shot for 20 minutes. I hung out longer, but it was just perfect timing. Showed up, set the lights underneath of it, took the shots, and then I was done. It's fun because it's quiet out there. Again, it's half of photography for me is really, it's therapeutic. It's the whole process of just getting out there and kind of being one, as they say, one with the nature, and just taking shots, and it's quiet, so it's good.
Yeah, most people will be like, why did they light up this water tank in the middle of nowhere? But that's really cool that you brought those.
Yeah,
I'm always there with you.
Yeah, if people go on my Instagram, they'll see a lot of long exposure, and I'll use some LED lights to kind of accentuate some of my photos, just for fun, just because it makes it different. Some folks are more purists; they want to make everything look natural, which is great. I like to put a little twist on things, but so that's kind of what I did here.
Do you remember your settings for this shot by any chance, or what would you normally do for this type of
something like that? I think I had an ISO of about 5,000 or 6,400. I only say maybe a 8 to 10 second shot.
Okay.
And I think it was like I think it was f 2.8.
Oh wow.
So.
And is this blended or just one shot, single shot?
That's a single shot. I'm starting with the editing. I'm learning more and more with the editing. I think I've got the photo taking down. There's a lot of technological parts that go into the editing, and I'm learning that. That's down the road. I want to take shots like this and then, stack them and, and blend them. And so that way the Milky Way is a little more pronounced.
I mean, it looks good to me.
Yeah. I mean, it came out good. When you get on Instagram, you can kind of see, how people, when they stack photos and it makes the Milky Way just, pop, and which is kind of cool. That there, like I said, it's a single shot. So it's, it's a little more au natural than what you would see, but, normally, but that's where it's at.
Before we look at your next picture, I think you explained this a little bit, but what excites you to go out to shoot nowadays? What are you looking for specifically?
I've gotten big into a lot of the astro. So when the Milky Way's out, I'm always trying to find something cool in the foreground to shoot with the Milky Way in the background. So that includes even going out to the Mojave and finding like old cars, that water tower, things of that nature, kind of vintage old stuff with the Milky Way in the background and adding lighting to it. That makes it kind of dynamic. I'm a little bit of a freak for saturation, so it's it's fun.
Awesome. Let me get your next shot ready here.
Okay.
1 second. Here we go. Okay. Can you see that?
Yep. So that's an old building, and like I was talking about, up in Bodie, up in the Eastern Sierras, up near Bridgeport. They have Ghost Town, Bodie is, and they call it a ghost walk, and they have that 3 times a year during the Milky Way season. The park is open till 10 o'clock, and then after 10, they kick you out. But if you're part of a tour or that they have there, a package thing, I think some folks can stay till midnight. I was taken probably between like 9 and 10 p.m. I think that was around September of 2022 or 2023. And I just found this old building, and it's so dark out there that you can see, granted it's a long exposure, you can actually see the Milky Way fairly pronounced because it's so dark out there during that time of the year. So that's just some shots that I took up there.
Did you see any ghosts?
No. My dad took me up there to the Sierras. I grew up trout fishing up in the Sierras, and then that kind of morphed into me going back up there and doing photography. The Sierras have always have my heart. I love going up there and taking photos up there.
Do you believe in ghosts or aliens?
No, not really. I'm not much of a sci-fi guy. I like taking the photos of the Milky Way, but I'm not much of an alien type person.
I like the leading line, that little trail too, right in the grass in the foreground here, that leads your eye right to the shed.
The roof line slants down to the right, and it kind of follows with the Milky Way. It's not perfect, but it's got some lines there, and the building lit up. I use the face of my phone, my iPhone, to light up that the shrub there, and then the corner of the building. So, because if I didn't give it a little bit of light, then it just would have been a dark building. A little bit of a long exposure trick. You just kind of light it up just a little bit is all you need. You don't need a big flashlight. It's just basically the face of your iPhone, and wave it in front of it for 5 seconds, and you're done, and that's what you get. That's
what we have this podcast for, to give those little tips and tricks.
Yeah, a buddy of mine, a good friend of mine, got me into the astro and taught me a bunch of stuff. So I kind of owe him a lot of credit. But
that's awesome. Write that one down, kids. Before we look at some more pictures, what would you say is the best photography advice you have received from a mentor that you learned on your own so far in your career?
That it's not necessarily about the gear. If you've got decent gear, you don't have to have like top of the line stuff to take good photos. You can have fairly average gear. It's all about learning the ISO, the f-stop, the length of exposure. I just learned on my own just by trial and error. Some guys that I don't know if they're almost intimidated by trying different things. Just photography, tweak it, play with it. Figure out what works. So some of the things I did by trial and error, I had a friend that kind of helped guide me a little bit, but once you kind of learn the basics, you're off to the races.
And it's easy with digital, right? Because you can just delete it
Yeah,
if you do horrible.
Yeah, it's not, it's not like my memory cards are full of junk and a few nice ones like that last one. So it's just fun. It's a learning experience. It's like anything. Don't take it too serious. Just have fun with it.
And back in the film days, it could get expensive making all those mistakes, right?
Right. Exactly. Yeah.
All right, let me set up your next photo here. Okay, sure. Okay. See it?
Yep.
Tell us about this shot.
Okay, so this is a wagon up in Bodie as well, and this is the one that that I won the inside cover of the calendar for 2023 for their calendar. So, in the editing, I think all I did, I might have added a little bit of a mist behind like a little bit of, you can see it's kind of cloudy, hazy behind the wagon. I think I might have added a little bit of that to it, but there wasn't too much more I needed to do. A little bit of saturation and sharpening, but yeah, it was a fun.
So this is a ghost town. This is a ghost town here.
Yeah. Yeah. This is a ghost town. I think it was a mining town, and when I think during the Great Depression or something, I can't remember the whole story, and I'm kind of ashamed that I don't know more of it. But people there was no business anymore. Basically, they call it a ghost town, but it was just, I think people just left it. But they got a lot of cool stuff up there to shoot, old wagons and old motors and all sorts. Oh, and there's old cars up there, like a Model T type car, just really cool stuff. Wow. They have a car up there. It's I don't know if it's just a photo somebody took, but the group U2 was up there, and a photographer took a picture of the guys on the car. It's a really photogenic place, and it's beautiful. It's quiet. It's kind of quiet because there's usually quite a bit of people up there, but it's not rowdy. But it's you're not up there by yourself. That's for sure.
Did you see any other tourists around when you took this picture here?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's pretty much all that's up there is guys walking around with their photography gear. Later at night, I didn't see anybody without a camera. You take advantage of, because the park, like I said, it's only open 3 nights out of the year that late. So people take advantage of it because it closes at 6 normally. So you only get to do some astro 3 times out of the year as per their ghost walk that they have.
They have a ghost walk here in downtown San Diego too. I see this guy with a flashlight leading that tour here downtown.
Yeah, I'm too old to go into those haunted houses anymore.
Okay, before we look at your next photo, what do you want to happen to your photos, all these great photos, when you die, when you're no longer here? Have you ever thought about that in your mind?
Just that they stay up, stay online just for people to see and enjoy. And, if they like it, just keep it around. Even once I'm dead, I just hope it's still visible. That's all.
Until we get the holodeck and virtual reality.
Exactly.
We'll stay at least on the internet, for a while.
Yeah. I use Instagram. I use Instagram and Facebook primarily for my, showcasing any photos that I do. I do have a website, where I can sell prints and things, but it's making a living or making any money on landscape photography is, you'd starve to death, I think, unless you're, you got a good marketing PR, like Peter Lick or some other guys. But yeah, it's tough. It'd be tough to make a living with land. So I just do it for fun.
All right, let's take a look at your next picture. Let me set it up here. Okay, there we go. Sure. This is a pretty famous spot for photographers in San Diego.
Everybody has their own styles, and you're never really going to see too often photography the same, unless you don't edit it. You're never going to see the same, style twice. I'm kind of fond of the purples a little bit, lavender colors and stuff. So that's kind of the little twist I put on that. This is right outside the restaurant there, facing south towards downtown, and folks are eating at the restaurant, and it's kind of awkward a little bit because they're eating. I'm setting up a tripod, and they're looking at you like, what the hell is this guy doing? But it's still fun.
And the restaurant people don't care. They don't kick you out. I've been to that restaurant too.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
they were cool because it was a little walkway to the side, so you're really, I mean, they can see you kind of through the glass, so to speak, on the other side on the walkway, but you're really not hindering their, their meal or anything like that. So it's really not that big of a deal. It just feels a little bit awkward, you're they're shooting while everybody's dining, but
I'm sure the people at the restaurant see hundreds of photographers there
oh
every
yeah,
year.
yeah, for
So
sure. It's a beautiful, the view in itself. Even if you're not a photographer, the view in itself is $1,000,000.
they probably gave up on saying something to
Yeah,
the photographers
yeah. Hey, I'm
there.
surprised they didn't put a sign out that says no photography, but it's a good draw for them because when folks go there and they take the picture, they like on mine, you tag it and wow. Then other photographers, they may want to go shoot it or they go to the restaurants. It's good marketing.
Okay.
Mm.
Tell us about this one.
So that's the bristlecone pine. This is one I just shot a couple weeks back up in when I went to Bishop and drove down to Big Pine, and then you drive up the hill there to the White Mountains, and the bristlecone pines are documented to be the oldest living things on the planet, 4,000 years plus. And I'd seen this tree for years in photography and just never really didn't make the trek, or the timing was off or something. There's always something. And I went up there by myself, and we're getting towards the end of the Milky Way season. And I thought I'd better jump on this. I drove up there, and the visitor center is open till 10 p.m. And so I got a little bit of an early start during the daylight because I really didn't know where I was going at night. So walked up during the day and then took the photos and went back down. But the elevation is really, it's really high up there. So the air is really thin. So from the visitor center to the tree here, the pine tree, it was, I don't know, I want to say maybe half to 3/4 of a mile. And
Okay.
I'm in decent shape, but I'm not in perfect shape. But I'll tell you, you feel like I was so winded. You're just completely out of air by the time you get up there. So I get up there and I'm done with my huffing and puffing. And I look over and I see three little old Chinese ladies come trekking up the hill.
Oh gosh.
It was a bit of a humbling experience. I sat with them and shot with them a little bit. And they were from Temecula. And
Oh,
so I hung out,
coincidence right there.
yeah, hung out with these three little Chinese ladies taking pictures of this thing, and yeah, it was cool. So I got the Milky Way in there, and got home. I was dying to edit it, and this is what I came up with.
Were they professional too, shooting at night with like a tripod and
Yeah,
stuff like
yeah,
that?
they had their tripod. They had little chairs. That was the other funny part is when I see them coming up the hill, they got all these bags draped around them, and I'm like, God, they look like pack mules, and they're just trucking up the hill, and but yeah, they had their tripods and yeah, it was cool. It was fun.
Did you exchange your information? Did you see their shots that they
They
got?
showed me they showed me on their phone. I showed them some of mine and stuff, and they're pretty good. I got to admit, and I showed them some of mine. It was just kind of pleasantries and stuff, but yeah.
Awesome. That's cool. I have not been to the bristlecone pines yet. Now it's on my bucket list, I guess,
Yeah, it's
to go there.
beautiful. It's beautiful up there. It's nice, really nice.
There we go. This is not the Comet one, right?
No, that's not the Comet one. But the Comet was just to the right of that. But see, that was more of a portrait layout than a landscape layout. I did get the Comet with the satellite, but for Instagram purposes, I'm a little more fond of taking portrait type shots because they're a little bigger. They take up more of the screen than the landscape version. But was able to get the Comet in with that satellite and the Milky Way.
Where's the satellite
This is
at?
in Big Pine. If you're going up to 395 and you look off the right, you can see them there. And then there's a side road. It's actually the same road you would take to go to the White Mountains and the bristlecone pine. There's a side road that takes it back there, and it's actually they have self-guided tours, but there's also a sign that says strictly prohibited, do not enter. But it's this kind of mixed message. This is the second time I've been there, and there's other photographers I've seen out there as well taking shots, of the satellite. But this was my last trip that I went up there a couple weeks ago as well.
Is that red, or is that color you did it in post processing?
No,
That red color.
that red glow is all that beacon there, that light throwing off all that. And what's funny is it to the naked eye, you really don't. All you see is the red light. You see a little bit of a red glow on some of the satellite parts, but when you do long exposure, when you're doing a 15, 20-second exposure, that red light throws light everywhere. So it lights up everything.
Please tell me you made some ET jokes while you're doing this this photo here.
Yeah, I think I may have made some sounds, when I was out there, some beeping sound or something. But
yeah,
it was cool. And that satellite too. Those satellites, they call them the ears, and I don't know who they're affiliated with or who operates them, but they move. So that satellite, it's kind of tough to do like that. If you're going to shoot the satellite, it's kind of tough to stack photos, because that satellite dish is moving slowly, but it's moving. And so when it moves, it's hard to stack, images that have moved. So that's another single image, but that was fun. That was a fun area too to shoot.
All right, well, we teased the comet image. Let me find it. We can't just put a teaser out there and not show people the image. So let me find that.
Yeah, I think it's the...
Okay, I think it's the next one here. Okay, yeah, I see it. It's pretty noticeable. Okay, let me share. Okay.
So this is in the Owens River Valley, up in the Sierras. That's just north of Bishop. And that was my last night there, and I really didn't know what to shoot, but I thought, God, I'm gonna get some water, shoot some water in this. And even if I didn't get a reflection off the water, just look cool with the river, flowing through the valley there, and with the Milky Way and the comet. I was able to get the comet, like I said, and the Milky Way in the same shot with the river flowing through there.
I'll zoom in a little bit so people can see it better. What is that in the foreground there? Is that just tree or limbs, something?
It's real windy. So the river's coming imagine it coming towards you, and that's just you see a pile of debris that's just stuck. There's a lot of twigs and things hanging out of the water, so they gather, more debris, and so that's all that is, just a pile of shrubs and twigs there in the foreground.
The scene does look really peaceful.
It was super peaceful. I was out there by myself. I think I shot between 7:30 and 8 for like an hour, and just kept shooting and shooting and shooting and shooting nonstop for an hour. I took different angles and things, but that's what I got there. I wanted to get that comet.
All right, awesome. You did a great job.
Thank you.
Before we look at your next photo, are you a celebrity person, or you don't really follow celebrities at all?
A little bit. Man, as you get a little bit older, you care less about celebrities, and you kind of want to do your own things. That's where I'm at. But sure. I mean, I like movies and things like that, but I
know you're a landscape guy, but is there anyone you'd like to do a portrait session, a celebrity, if you could pick anyone, alive or dead, to do a portrait session with?
Maybe like James Gandolfini, Sopranos.
Okay.
Like that. Yeah.
Big personality.
Yeah, I was a big fan of that show, and I thought he was fantastic. So I thought, he'd be cool to shoot.
Awesome. Okay, let's look at your next photo here. Get ready. I think you sent me one for...
There was one that was
critique,
missed.
Right?
One for
critique. All right, let's do the missed one first. Sure. All right, before we talk about how you missed it, maybe talk about your vision that you had originally for this.
So these are called tufas, which are near Mono Lake. They're like a natural formation of like limestone. When the water was running through there, those formed. So, and I used an LED light to illuminate them. You can't see it obviously, but the clouds are covering up the Milky Way behind it. So that was my missed, quote unquote, missed shot is missing the Milky Way in that shot. This
does look something straight out of Star Wars, though. I'll give you that.
Yeah, and they look bigger than they really are. They're really not really that large in person, but they are they're kind of not creepy, but they're just really weird looking. I wanted to illuminate them in a different color, because you have to really want to illuminate the foreground and see them. It doesn't matter really what color. You could use a white light, purple, green, yellow. It doesn't really matter. I just picked a red light, but I was hoping to get the Milky Way, but those clouds they just kind of hovered there. And so I didn't get
Oh,
the
they're not
Milky Way.
red normally. They're not
No,
red
no,
normally.
no. That's an illuminate. That's another LED,
Trick here.
LED job there. So that's what I did is I illuminated those in the foreground, so that you could see them.
Well, you don't need the Milky Way in every shot. So
No, I know. Yeah, you don't.
The clouds are nice, adds a little ominous feeling
Yeah.
to the
And now,
image.
and it's good. It kind of forces you to try different things. If you're really into photography, like the Milky Way season now is over. So I do, like on my Instagram, you'll see a lot of some street photography and light trails and things of that nature. So it forces you to try different, or shoot different things when astro season is over.
Before we get to your last shot, do you have any wild, crazy stories from your adventures in the wilderness, in the middle of nowhere? Any animals, anything you've seen?
A buddy and I were in Trona last year. No, maybe it was the beginning of this, early part of this year. And we went out to Trona, where the Trona Pinnacles are, and that's off the 395, just as you're kind of on the north end of the Mojave. And we were by these train tracks, and we were actually on the train tracks. And he was set up in one area, and I was set up in another. And I hear him, he's like, "Whoa!" And I go, "What?" Look over, and there was a sidewinder about 2 feet from him. And
whoa!
What the freakiest part is that I kept reptiles for many years, and it was like 58 degrees. I mean, it was chilly. And here's this sidewinder. I don't go out to the desert that often, so I don't know the behaviors of desert animals so much.
It's a snake, right? Just for those people that don't know what a sidewinder is.
Sidewinder, yeah, it's a rattle. It's a rattlesnake. So the sidewinder was about 2 feet from him, and it was like 58 degrees out. So we were shocked. We were shocked to even just see it, let alone it be 2 feet, from him. Yeah. So I think it was a little more spooky for him. Plus, he's a little squeamish anyway by him, but yeah, it caught us both, off guard for sure.
Did it just run away, or you guys moved away from it?
He just kind of sat there and chilled. We just, we just moved our gear and just let him be. But he wasn't moving very fast, so that was nice.
How many reptiles do you own yourself?
I don't keep any. I don't keep any.
You don't have any?
Yeah, no. But I used to keep hundreds back in the day.
Wow, hundreds.
Yeah, plenty. My Instagram is not all landscape photography. If folks went way down on my Instagram, they'd see a lot of the animal shots that I took, and some of them are like way over edited and just kind of goofy and silly looking. But but then there's some shots there that are pretty. They're in natural, kind of a natural state. I didn't, other than sharpening the photo. I didn't do anything to it.
Well, let's look at your shot for critique here. Get ready. All right, before I give my critique, go ahead and just explain this photo here.
So this was my very first year doing astro. This is out in Borrego. Not actually, I don't think it's in just Borrego Springs. It's not in the park. And we came across this old trailer. It was kind of creepy because there's a bunch of just debris around it and everything. We thought, well, how can we make this trailer look cool with the Milky Way in the background? So we threw in some LEDs and that too, just to kind of give it this creepy, haunted, glowing look. I thought it came out fairly well. You can't really see from the angle you're at there, but if the photo has more towards the bottom below the trailer, and you can see some more of the sand. If you scrolled up, I thought it looked kind of cool with the sand because it was windy. The wind was blowing the sand around, so it kind of gave those ripples in the sand, which looked kind of cool.
Were you with someone when you took the shot, or were you by yourself?
No, I was with a buddy of mine, and so we were both shooting from different angles.
What I would have loved for the shot, if you had your buddy go in that window in the trailer, act like a ghost, or you just see silhouette.
We've done that where I'll use my son and we'll put them in the door, and they've got their arms out like it's Friday the 13th. So, but we've done that before.
Yeah, I was thinking if you just had someone not in the door, but in the middle window
In the
there,
middle window, yeah, just a head poking
that would
out or
have been
something.
cool, like a
Right.
mysterious stranger or
Exactly.
something. Or maybe find like some kind of skull or piece of wood to put that in the foreground
Right.
sand to make it even
We
more
moved. We moved that piece
spooky.
of fence. The fence was somewhere else, and we thought, oh, let's put the fence more towards, a little closer to the trailer, and and do that. Put that in there. But yeah, it was fun. That was a fun one too.
There's not much to critique. I think it's great, but like I said, if you had a silhouette in the window or something
Yeah,
really scary in the foreground, I think it would
it
just
would have
added
definitely
that
added for sure.
little extra to the shot. Okay. I think that's all the photos we have. Before we wrap things up,
Okay.
do you have a dream shot that you want to take in your mind?
I think maybe just going to a location that I've never been before, and taking a shot of something I haven't taken before. You know, I know a lot of guys like to go to Iceland and things like that, so Iceland would be fun. I'm thinking about maybe going back to Kentucky or Tennessee and shooting some of the waterfalls back there. Like I said, I'm kind of fond of shooting those a little bit, and we don't have many in Southern California.
Any final thoughts? How do you prefer people to contact you? Your Instagram, your website?
Probably Instagram is my most popular
Okay.
way of seeing my stuff, and it's. Do I give you the plug or
Yeah, just say I'll post a link to it, but yeah, you can just say
okay?
what your Instagram name
Yeah,
is here.
it's Barry Lambert, BarryLambert _ photography. If you put that in there on Instagram, you'll see all my stuff.
And you have a website too where you sell your photos or
Yeah,
no?
yeah, I do. I don't give it much. I don't give it much attention, but yeah, it's BarryLambertPhotography.com.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much.
Yeah,
I
thank
really
you.
enjoyed
Thanks
looking
for
at
the invite.
your landscape photography. Next time we'll do all your reptile shots
There you go.
or
There you
something
go.
like that.
Awesome.
All right. Well, have a good night.
Great. You too. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Barry. All right. Talk to you soon.
Okay. Bye bye.
Bye.